right, hello and welcome back. It's your boy Hank Hackerson at Hank Hacks Hackers, your favorite network and system attacker. And in today's video, we are going to go through Autopsy, which is a tool for investigating artifacts from a disk image, and is a digital forensics tool. And we are inside the digital forensics module for the SOC Level 1 pathway of TryHackMe. And this is fun. So far, it's been an interesting pathway. It's mostly about analysis and trying to find evidence and all that stuff. So if that is your cup of tea, you're definitely going to love this as we get further and further into this specific module. So if you want to go into digital forensics or security analysis, cybersecurity, ethical hacking, all that stuff, then go ahead and like, subscribe, turn on that notification bell, and even drop a comment. When you do those things, two things happen. Number one, you actually help the channel. You help us by getting a little bit better favor with the YouTube algorithm so that the channel gets exposed more and we can grow the community and find more people just like you, awesome mofos like you. But the second piece that's even more important is that when you turn on that notification, you actually get notified the next time a video comes out. So if you're studying for digital forensics or security analysis or pen testing, any of that stuff, all of these things directly apply to your studies and your examinations, but they also help you in your path, in your career path, as you continue along this whole process. So it's a win-win situation, in my humble opinion. Without further ado, let us jump into the introduction of the autopsy room. All right, the introduction is as follows. Basically, it says that Autopsy is the premier open source forensics platform. It's fast, easy to use, and capable of analyzing all types of mobile devices and digital media. It's a plugin architecture enables extensibility from community-developed or custom-built modules. Autopsy evolves to meet the needs of hundreds of thousands of professionals in law enforcement, national security, litigation support, and corporate investigation. So it's a very cool tool. We've used it a few times when we went through Windows Forensics Room. But we're gonna do like a much deeper dive into it today, and it requires that we start the virtual machine, which is a Windows machine, and I've already done that, so we should just be able to jump right into it. And if we wanted to, we can even remote desktop into it. But the nice thing about TryHackMe is that it gives you the Windows machine, and you can kind of just have it load. And it gives you like a Windows interface just like this. So I'm just going to open this up in a full screen window so we have easier access to everything, and then we're going to jump into the rest of the exercises of this particular room. So let's get into it. All right, so here's the workflow. And again, we did this in the Windows Forensics room, so I'm not going to spend too much time on this, and you're more than welcome to go check that room out. But when you open it up, it gives you a little pop-up that says, start a new case or open a recent case. And then you name your case, you choose a location where you want to save it, and then you can choose what you want to do for either a previous autopsy file that runs with the d.aut file extension, or you can upload disk images into it and things that you would want to use for your scan. And from there, so if it's missing an image, it says that it's missing an image if you don't have it previously. And I think in this case, we might actually be using a sample case autopsy file that's located on the desktop so that we can continue on with the rest of the task. But if you wanted to, you can use disk images previously. So that's what we did in the Windows Forensics. We used fresh disk images and we created a new case. And in this particular case, we're just importing already a sample case. So the workflow is not that different. It's the browser is actually not the browser, the wizard. There you go. The wizard for Autopsy is actually super user friendly, and it helps you by figuring out what you need to upload and import, so on and so forth. So it's very, very user friendly. It has a great graphic user GUI. I'll just say GUI. I can't talk, it seems. But apparently from there, once you just kind of get into it, the rest of it is very user friendly to do. I'm like stumbling over my words here. So the first question is, what is the file extension of the autopsy file, which is .aut, and then we're just going to import the sample case that's located on the desktop to do the rest of this task. So let's do that, and then we'll get into data sources. All right, data sources. Autopsy can analyze a lot of different image formats, and we can do this by adding a data source. And this is actually kind of just going into what it was like previously to upload a disk or image file, which is kind of what that wizard is right here. And if you didn't have an autopsy sample case file, then you would just use any of these other ones. And the one that we used previously was a raw split format that has it was a USB image, so it was .001. It was USB .001. That's basically what it was. And so it was a raw split format, but then you can have a .img, which is the image, DD, which is a disk duplicator, raw bin, any of these things. So you can even pull from virtual machines that have these types of extensions. So it's fairly universal. You can use it for a lot of different types of data sources, and it makes it pretty easy to handle. The disk image of E01 is in case, which is another great tool that's used for digital forensics, and that can be that's pretty much it for data sources. It's pretty straightforward. There's the autopsy documentation to kind of understand what this thing does and how you can use it, and the various tools and resources that are available, but it's basically for data sources. This one that we landed on is just for data sources, but then you have the main page that has literally everything that you can do with autopsy. So it's very, very user-friendly. Again, it's a user-friendly, but in my humble opinion, you can just kind of read into it and get a full understanding of it if you want to become a digital forensics specialist and you want to go into incident response and digital forensics and all that stuff. It's always good to just read further into these things. So now let's go into ingest modules. Ingest modules are basically autopsy plugins, and this happens when you're adding a new data source. After you've selected the data source, it'll ask you what you want to run ingest on or use as ingest modules. And the last time that we did this, I did deselect all when I was using the USB image, but then there was one that we were looking at web browser history, and so for that we had turned on the recent activity ingest module. I am not going to pretend like I know what all of these things are, but again, this is something that's available on the documentation for autopsy, and as I get further along into this path, I'm just going to be using it more, and I'm going to be reading up on it more. And typically I study for when I need the tool itself, because it's such a wide genre, the cybersecurity genre, as I'm sure you already know. It's a very, very large genre, and there's a lot of things that goes on here. And I started this channel because I wanted to not just help the community, but it helps me retain information better when I have to teach it. So I'm doing that, but then I have documentation for what I need to refer back to. If I ever need to refer back to anything, instead of just going and reading through things, I can just go look at videos that I've created, and you're more than welcome to use this channel for that as well. And I just kind of create these things as I go along and as I need the information, as I'll be using the tool, so on and so forth. So I do not know what all of these things are, but you can kind of just tell, right? Keyword research or keyword search or email parser. A lot of these things are just from the title itself, you can kind of narrow down what it actually does. So after adding a data source, you can run the ingest modules, which could be done by right-clicking on the data source itself. For example, this one is a dd.dd data duplicate disk duplicator, and then just do run ingest modules, and then from there you can import the ingest modules that you want to use, and you can select right here. It says run ingest modules on all files, directories, and unallocated space, and it will ingest everything that's inside that disk image, and then finish, and then it takes a minute for it to complete. And then once you have that, it'll have some interesting files identifier information for you, where, as you can see, that it's actually kind of been populated with more information. The interesting items here didn't have anything. Now interesting items here has something. So That's always useful. I love these tools because of that. And Splunk has this, and a lot of these different analysis tools have it, where after it's finished analyzing the file that it's supposed to be analyzing, it says, oh, these are some interesting fields for you to look at. This might be of note, right? So then we can go back into the configure ingest modules window, and they have per run settings. Some of them do and some don't. The keyword search does not have a per run setting. In contrast, interesting files finder does, and the yellow triangle represents the per run setting option. And as they run, alerts can appear in the ingest box. This is an example after a few ingest modules have completed running. So it can just kind of give you the alerts in real time as it's running. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So we can, again, go into the autopsy documentation to learn more about the ingest modules. And there are so many of them that we can probably just do a video training on each one of those modules. And I'm pretty sure we will at some point. So let us now go into the user interface part 1, part 2, and hopefully we'll actually get to do some analysis on the file that we just loaded. Right now it just seems to be read-only information. The user interface part 1 comprised of 5 primary areas. So we have the data sources, which is on the left side. You have the views, the results, the tags, and the reports. And so this is the result viewer. So when don't confuse the results node from the tree viewer with the result viewer. So when a volume whatever is selected from the tree viewer, which is this thing on the left side, additional information about it is displayed in the result viewer, which is this thing on the right side. For example, the sample case's data source is selected, and now additional information is visible on the results. If a volume is selected, the results viewer information will change. I mean, that's kind of self-explanatory. The results viewer pane has 3 tabs. So it has the table, thumbnail, and summary. And these are the things up here. And the above screenshot reflects the information in table. The thumbnail tab works best with image or video files. If the view above is changed from the table to thumbnail, not much information will be displayed because there's no thumbnails. It's just basically just one piece. Volume nodes can be expanded, and an analyst can go into them by pressing the plus button. This is all very self-explanatory. In the views tree node, files are categorized by file types, by extension, by MIME type, by deleted files, and by file size. The stuff that has an X next to them are deleted files. Again, self-explanatory. When it comes to file types, pay attention to that section. It's the by extension section. And an adversary can rename a file with a misleading file extension. So the file will be miscategorized by the extension, but it will be categorized appropriately by MIME type. And MIME types have magic code numbers or magic numbers that kind of you can tell just from the data that's inside the actual thing. When you look at the binary information, you can see, oh, that this, it may not necessarily be a JPEG. There might be other stuff that's sitting inside of this thing. So expanding by extension, and more children appear. Categorizing even further, which is basically what this looks like right here. So refer to the documentation on the result viewer for more information. Then you have the content viewer, which is the bottom portion of the right hand side of the screen. And you have things like S for score, the C for any comments that might be on it, O for occurrence that might be on it. And these things are important because score will show a red exclamation that is notable, and a yellow triangle for something that you might be suspicious that you should be looking at further. Can be marked and tagged by an ingest module or just by the analyst themselves. If a yellow page is visible in the comment column, it'll indicate that there's a comment for the folder, and the occurrence is basically how many times this has shown up in the past cases. It's been seen in the past cases. And that's kind of a gist of it. You can do a keyword search. At the top right, there's going to be a keyword list and keyword search. Within keyword search, you can perform a ad hoc keyword search. I forgot what that stands for. But you can essentially look for a keyword, and it'll try to find the portion of the disk image that includes that keyword. And in the image above, they looked for secret, and this is the results that showed up from it. And some of them don't actually have secret in the web or the file name itself, but it could be inside of the keyword preview that has the word secret, or maybe even inside the contents of it that has the word secret. Then we have the status area, which is at the bottom, that basically gives us the little bar with the percentage that kind of shows whether or not it's fully run or not. And so that, I mean, again, self-explanatory. Progress bar along with percentage completed will be displayed in this area. For more information, you can click the bar, and of course, if the X directly next to the progress bar is clicked, a prompt will appear if you want to end the ingest modules, which means you're stopping the ingest modules from running. So if you need them to finish running, let them run. And if it's taking a long time, go grab some coffee or something. So yeah. Okay, so now we can actually go look at our file. So it says expand the data sources. What is the number of available sources? What is the number of detected removed files? And what is the file name found under interesting files section? So let us go and look into that. All right, first and foremost, we have at the very, very top data sources. So we can just click on that, and then sample case, and then click on that. And then we have 4 data sources, and then under volume 2, it has its individual contents. So it would be 4 data sources, or it could just be 1 for sample case, but I think it's 4 because there's 4 volumes. And then while we're here, we can already see the deleted files section as well. So if I just click on that, I guess there's a good amount of them. So while that's loading, oh, there we go. So there we go. We have deleted files and file system and all. So there's 7,469 altogether, but I think they're asking for, well, we'll see. So first, let's do the answer for the data sources, which is 4, I believe. So let's do that. Yep, that's good. And what is the number of detected removed files? So let's see what the hint says. It can be filed under the recycle bin category. So let's go into here, and inside of the file system, we actually have a recycle bin category down here as well. So it says 10. So that's the number of removed files, but that's I guess that's different from deleted files. So I was looking at deleted files, but they're talking about removed files, which would be in the recycle bin. And now, what is the file name found under the interesting files section? So we're going to go down here, and we have interesting files section, and we have cloud storage. We're going to open that up, interesting files, open that up, and then go up here and see what we can find over here. And it's Google Drive sync.exe. And there you go. That was our first little taste of using Autopsy in the user interface. So now let's look at the user interface part 2. All right, so we have the data sources summary in user interface part 2, that you right click on this thing, view summary information, and it gives you a nice little summary. Types, user activity analysis, recent files, past cases, geolocation, timeline, ingest history, container, and then it gives you a nice pie chart as well that shows you what hasn't been analyzed, the images, videos, audio, documents, executables, and unknown, and other, so on and so forth. You can generate a report from it. So where we do that is it would be from the result viewer pane. Reports can be used to help reinvestigate findings for later, but they don't have additional search options. So you have to manually find artifacts for the event of interest. The Autopsy tool can be heavy for systems with low resources. Therefore, completing an investigation with Autopsy on low resources can be slow and painful, especially browsing long results might end up with a system freeze. So you can avoid that situation by using reports, and you can use the tool for parsing data and generating the report, then continue to analyze it. Note that it's always easier to conduct and manage an investigation with a GUI. So we can do generate report to create reports, and this is what it looks like. Click generate report, the type of module or formatting that you want, click next, then you use the data sources that you want to include, and then you want all of the results click finish, and it'll create a report for you in HTML format in this particular case. Once you have the report, we can now click on it and open it. And so if it's in HTML format, it's going to open inside of the web browser. And this is kind of what it looks like. I mean, it's nice still because it's at least it looks like a GUI. You know what I mean? The HTML section views the report in the browser, and it gives you all of the result viewer pane results on the left. So what is the full name of the operating system version? What percentage of the drive are documents? And generate an HTML report. And what is the job number of the interesting files identifier? So we're going to use the summary for this as they kind of implied here. So data sources summary. So we'll just click on the disk drive or the image, excuse me, summary information, and try to get that information. So I'm going to right click on this thing, view summary information, and here it is. Click on that so it actually loads it for me. And here we go. So the OS is Windows 7 Ultimate Service Pack 1. I wonder if I can highlight this. I can't highlight it. So let me see if I can maybe highlight this. No. I mean, I could right click it, but I need to type it. So Windows 7 Ultimate Service Pack 1. That's what it is. All right, there's that. What percentage of the drive are documents? So we're going to go here, documents right here, 40.8%. And there's that, 40.8%. Include the percentage sign. And generate an HTML report. View the case summary section. What is the job number of the interesting files? So now we're going to generate a report. So we're going to go over, where was it? Generate report right here. Generate report. And it's going to be an HTML report. And we're just going to call it sample report. Sample report. Next. And we're going to be using the sample case. Next. All results. Finish. And it's going to take couple of seconds. Seems to be fairly easy. All right, there we go. That's done, and it's inside of this whole path right here. So we're just, if I click on this, it should just open it up, I think. All right, here we go. It finally loaded, and so we got, actually no, it's going to be under case summary, I believe, and we're looking for the job number of the interesting files module. So I think I'm gonna do a control find right here and do interesting files, and we got 3 instances. So we got the one on the left, we got this one right here, so it's job 10 it seems, and interesting files identifier. So yeah, it's job 10, and just like that we have our final answer. So now let's go into the data analysis task. All right, so the mini scenario: an employee was suspected of leaking company data. A disk image was retrieved from their machine, and you were assigned to perform the initial analysis, and further action will be determined if based on their initial findings. So the reminder is that since the actual disk image is not in the attached VM, certain sections will not display, so we just click on no when it gives us that little warning, and we can just continue from there. So what is the name of the install program with the version number 6.2.0, so on and so forth. So I'm just gonna copy this piece right here, and we're just analyzing data, so it seems like we don't need to load anything else. We should just be able to use what we already have. So let's see. So I just did a keyword search right here for that version number, and I did an exact match. And these are all the things that came up. And then you see eraser just showing up multiple times inside these results right here. But then towards the bottom, there's an actual version number that's also attached to it. So eraser is going to be my guess for this. And that is right. And so a user has a password hint. What is the value of the password hint? There is a little section on the tree view that's called operating system user accounts, and there's 9 of them. And then when we look at that, there's a section for password hint. There's a column right there, and there's only one person that has it, so it's IA man, I guess, or I am, and I don't know, IA man. Okay, so now numerous secret files were accessed from a network drive. What was the IP address? So numerous secret files were accessed. What was the IP address? When we look at recent documents, we have a bunch of files that actually have secret in the name. So secret project, and when you look at the path, there is an IP address that is assigned to them. I believe that's the IP address that they're looking for. So I don't know if they're looking at the IP address of the person who had accessed it, but it's 10.11.11.128 is what we're going to try right now. And that is great. So what web search term has the most entries? So now we're going to look at web search results. And there is a file or a category for web search. And so we go here, and then let's look at the text that was searched, information leakage cases. And that seems to be the one that has the most out of everything. I think that's the most one. If I do this, and it'll take me here, file sharing, tethering, information leakage cases. Yeah, that's easily the most one. So information leakage cases is going to be it. And moving right along, what was the web search conducted on 3/25/2015 at 21:46:44? So we're going to analyze by date 3/25/2015 at 21, what was it? 21:46:44. 21:46:44. It's right here. There's a few of them. 21:46:44. There's 2 of them. So anti-forensic tools. Anti-forensic tools. Gosh, this guy's trying to cover up his tracks. Okay. What is the MD5 hash value of the binary listed as an interesting file? So let's go back to our interesting files, and there's an MD5 hash value that is at the end of it. There's 2 hash values, so they're both executables. Let's see if we can narrow it down which one might be a binary. It's pretty much the same exact thing, so it's kind of interesting to see which one might be the correct answer. So I'm going to kind of shrink this down, and I'm going to look at these 2 hash values. I'm going to go for the second one because it's already on the machine. The first one, the file path itself, is users, informant, downloads, Google Drives. The next one is program files. Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, honestly, either one could be right, so we'll see. We're just gonna copy this particular one. Let me see if I could do that. All right, so we just click on file metadata, and there's the information down here. I think I should be able to just highlight this and copy this. Let's see if we could do that. I can't right click it, so we'll do Control C. Hopefully that actually works. It does, and that is not the right one. So let's click on the next one and see what we can find with file metadata here. It's another hash value. Let's copy that one and see if that's the one. And that is the one. So now, finally, what self-assuring message did the informant write for himself on a sticky note? No spaces. So sticky note, informant. Let's see what we can find with any of that stuff. Okay, so that took a little bit of searching and clicking around. I found it under extension mismatch detected, and there's something called sticky note, and you just click on it, and then you look at the text content, and poor guy, I feel bad. Everything will be okay. is the message that's here. And what's funny, or not funny, I guess, but as I was clicking around through everything just to try to find everything, especially I think it was under the recent documents, where you go through it and you kind of see, there was some projects that this person was working on at some point, pricing decision for the secret project. Then there's a resignation letter that's here, their design that he did, secret project data, and so on and so forth. And it seems that he was, I don't know, maybe like uh, maybe they took his design from him or something that happened. But unfortunately, we can't see the contents of the resignation letter, which kind of bums me out because I really want to see what the resignation letter says. So maybe this one will show us what the content is, and it doesn't. And then we have this thing, and that doesn't show the content either. So I would very, very much love to see what happened with this person, but whatever, moving on. Everything will be okay, buddy. Everything will be okay. What? No spaces. Okay. Oh, I see. So the first word was tomorrow, and then everything will be okay. Like that. Okay, great. All right, so there is the data analysis portion, and now we're going to go into visualization tools. We may have noticed other parts of the user interface weren't discussed yet, and there's a bunch of things, as we can see at the top right here, referring to their documentation for the visualization tool. So there could be the images and videos, communications, and timeline visualization tools. And this is the timeline editor specifically. So the first part right here are the filters. These are the actual events that have happened across the several years that this is on. And the bottom portion are the file contents if we were to click on anything. And then there are 3 view modes, which is the counts, details, and the list. So this specific one is looking at the counts, and then you have the details that'll give you the details, and then you have the list view that probably gives you a little bit more information, or maybe less information, it seems. The number of events is displayed in a bar chart for counts. The information on events is displayed, but they're clustered and collapsed under details, and then the list are viewed in a table view. This is a screenshot of the details view, and then we have the numbers seen above. They indicate collapsed events for a specific time. For example, Windows, there are 130,000 events when you look at this thing right here. And then when you press the plus sign, I'm guessing it's going to expand all of that, and you're going to get to see everything that is inside those 130,000 events. So might be a little bit too much to kind of go through right now. And it says between 2009 and 2010 there's 130,000 events, and so that's what this event looks like. You hover over it and it kind of shows you between such and such place. And to expand it, you just click the plus sign. To collapse it, create the red sign, the minus sign, the map marker icon with a plus sign if you want to pin a group of events, and it is where is it? We don't see that. This will move and pin the events to an isolated section of the events view, and I guess that's kind of pin. Do we have a map marker? Doesn't seem to. Oh, this, I think it's this thing. That's what that means. That map marker is what that thing is. This little, it's like drop a pin, the stuff that you see on a map. So that actually moves it into our pins, and then to unpin it, we can just do the map marker with a minus sign. The last group of icons are the eye icons. If you wish to hide a group of events, you can do the eye icon. That's also pretty good. I'm guessing the eye will close, or no, so this is a minus sign. So if you want to hide them, you click on the eye with the minus sign. If you want to see them, you would go back to the event view. And for boot, we're hidden and placed in hidden descriptions. And you see it's a closed eye right here. So you can unhide them, and you can remove them from the list. And so this is what it would look like. So using the timeline, how many results were there on January 12th of 2015. So let's go to the timeline and wait for this to load. Okay, so just so you know, you gotta use this little thing to determine what your timeline is going to be. So January 12th, 2015, and then I'm going to do the end time right here as well, where I just do the same thing. So I'm going to go back to January and 12th, and we're just going to drag these to the end of the day and click that check button, and it should narrow it down for us. So January 14th, and now we need to see the number of events. It seems to be that there's 2,073 results. So I wonder if that's the correct answer. So we actually needed to click on this red bar to update the count right here. And so 46 is the number of the results. And so we do that, and that is the right answer. Now, the majority of the file events occurred on what date? So the majority of the file events occurred on what date? Okay, so going back to this original view that we have right here, we can tell that most of it is happening on 2015. And then this history section right here is also very useful, so because it takes you back and forth between your search stuff. So I wanted to come back just so I can show you where we started from, and then if I click forward, it'll take the most recent edit that I did, which took me from January 1st of 2015, and I can just do that. And actually, I didn't even do the time adjustment, so I can bring this at the very beginning of the day and update it real quick, but still it shows you that the most events happened on the 22nd of March. So it says March 22nd right here, 2015 is where we're at. So we're going to do March 22nd, 2015, and that should be the answer. No way. What? So maybe it's looking at not the total number of events that came, maybe it's looking at just this red bar. So that would be March 25th of 2015 in that, if that was the case. So let's do March 25th of 2015, and that is indeed the answer. So just like that, we were able to use the visualization tools to answer a couple of cool questions real quick. And I mean, Autopsy is awesome, man. It's a great tool. I can understand why it's kind of one of the premier tools. My teacher, when I was studying for my CYSA exam, talked about Autopsy all the time when it was looking at incident response and digital forensics and stuff like that. So very cool tool, and we literally just scratched the surface. There's so much more that we can probably do with this tool. So I highly recommend that apart from this video and just this room, you go look at the documentation, especially if you're trying to get into digital forensics and incident response. In conclusion, there's a lot of other things that we can do out of the box with Autopsy. So hash lookups, file extension mismatch, keyword search, interesting, Yara analyzer. Yara is also really awesome. So this is just scratching the surface of Autopsy, and we were able to look at some really cool things around it. And there's third-party modules that are available that we can look at. The SleuthKit GitHub repo has a list of the third-party modules at this link. And let's click on these links just so you can kind of see what these things look like. This was developed by NIST for the Computer Forensics Reference Data project, and that's the disk image that we used for this particular one. It's encouraged to download the disk image, go through the full exercise here, and that's with NIST to level up the investigation techniques. Now we invite you to complete the Autopsy challenge room, which is disk analysis and Autopsy, which is probably a part of this thing. Oh, it's not in here. Okay, so I guess we can do that as a challenge room. You know what? There's like a lot of challenge rooms inside of TryHackMe, and I really like that. It's apart from the learning. So when you go up here and you click on learn, there's practice that's available. So there's hands-on learning, hands-on hacking, and then there's just practice exercises that kind of reinforce everything that you're doing. So I like those things, and I am going to start doing those things. I just found out about them recently, so even though I've been using TryHackMe for a total of 113 days straight, look at me, bro. So 113 days straight that I've been using TryHackMe, I still haven't ventured off into those exercises. So that's going to be fun to do. Now let's look at some of these Autopsy modules. So this is the first one. These are just the installing third-party modules that's on the Autopsy documentation page. You have the next one, which is the Sleuth Kit add-on modules that's available through GitHub, and it kind of shows you what a lot of these things are, and apparently there's several lists of them. So there's ingest modules, report modules, and so on and so forth, data source processor modules. And then this is the page from NIST that goes through the rest of the exercise for that autopsy sample file that we just got. And this is for, it's not for the specific sample file that we got. This is just a direct page for the computer forensics dataset, reference dataset portal. So we can use a lot of these reference datasets to kind of hone our skills and sharpen our skills. And I mean, just super cool resources and tools. And this is a giant world. This is a humongous world when I tell you that there's so much that can be done inside of cybersecurity, ethical hacking. It's fucking crazy. So that's it. That is our wrapped room for Autopsy. If you found this video useful, if you learned anything from this video, if you want to show some love, and if you're in the path for security analyst, or you're studying for security analyst, or you want to go into digital forensics, any of that cool stuff, please go ahead and like, subscribe, and turn on that notification bell so that you get notified the next time a video comes out. And usually when you do that, it actually helps the YouTube algorithm find our channel as well, so that we can grow this little channel that we've been building. It has been a beautiful journey so far, and honestly, I love it. It's so cool to see the growth of the channel, and we get a lot of comments coming in from people. So this is, I mean, this is literally, it's just in the last 28 days or however long it's been that I started building this channel that we've gotten so many comments. So it's very, very humbling to see so many people coming and responding and joining the community, and it's very, very lovely. I genuinely love it, and I'm humbled and I'm inspired to keep creating content for you guys. Look, this is just what we've done so far, and there's over 76 videos so far just in the last 30 days. So I'm just gonna keep coming out with more stuff, and if you like, subscribe, and turn on that notification bell, you'll get notified when a new video comes out, and it'll help you with your studies for your examination, but it'll also help you hone your skills so that you can become a better security analyst, digital forensics specialist, ethical hacker, pen tester, all that good stuff. It's your boy Hank Hackerson at Hank Hacks Hackers, your favorite network and system attacker. If no one else loves you, Hank loves you. Peace, love, and chicken grease, and I will see you in the next video. Later.